Big news, big news. Apparently there's a big rift at Chelsea with Todd Boehly and Boehly. This is something that came up briefly in the summer. There was rumours that Todd Boehly wanted to sell his shares. He was looking to leave. Turns out, actually, it's the opposite. And we've got Boehly and Clearlake, Feliciano on one side, Boehly, Hansi Wiss, Mark Walter on another side. You got 60% and around 40% for Boehly. So Clearlake do have the majority here. Now, let's just break it down. Very simple. Todd Boehly is basically looking at this situation at the moment and the way we're handling the club since Boehly's taken the reins at Chelsea over the past year, and he's not happy with it. This is according to Bloomberg and also Telegraph. Matt Law wrote an article on this as well. Look at the two different approaches that we see. Begdad Boehly's approach for Chelsea is about signing young youth players with potential and keeping the wage structure low, whereas Todd Boehly wants to go for superstars, give them big contracts and essentially win now, right, like with the Dodgers. So a little bit more similar to what we had under Abramovich. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy, to be honest with you. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, I didn't expect this, and people are choosing sides. And the question I asked for you, before I even get into it, I mean, who do you initially think you would prefer to manage Chelsea? Would you want someone with the sensible financial structure? Because it is sensible, isn't it? Like Boehly, where it's all about being careful, managing how much money you spend, so that if a player doesn't work out, you can easily shift them on with a low wage structure. And if a gem comes in, they get a bump in their contract, but it's still really nothing. I mean, you look at what Cole Palmer was earning before. He was earning less than 100 grand a week, and his extension has taken him up to 130 grand a week. So it's actually not that much in the grand scheme of things, considering Tosin's on 120 grand. You've got Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, all of those players making more than Cole Palmer. And then you've got Boehly, who dished out 325 grand a week for Sterling, bought in Koulibaly, a lot of these players on massive contracts. But really, I think it's too early to judge Boehly in that sense. I think, how do I phrase this? I think if Boehly was still in charge now, we'd have a better understanding of what he's trying to do. But because Boehly took the reins early on and then that shifted to Clearlake, it looks like Clearlake are better at managing the club than Boehly in that sense. But let me ask you this. Do you think that Boehly would have turned down the opportunity to bring in Victor Osimhen and just match the wages that he was on at Napoli? You don't even have to give the man a pay rise. I think the answer is very clearly yes, right? Boehly turned that opportunity down to bring one of the top 3 strikers in world football to Chelsea. Todd Boehly wouldn't have done that. And there's been a poll on Twitter. I think it was Pies, his page. About 77% of fans believe that Boehly is better for Chelsea than Boehly and Clearlake, and that is an absolutely fair point. I think that when you look at it in a footballing term, Boehly is just, he's more of a sporting man. He's more of a Chelsea man. He interacts with fans more. How do I know? Because I've met the guy, and I met Boehly as well. Boehly doesn't want to be taking pictures. He literally held up the phone when Boehly gave the channel a shout. Boehly was the one that was filming. He doesn't want to be in the limelight. He wants to be behind, just making money, essentially. You know, we're hyping up good business deals, and we've made some good deals. I'm not disputing that, but we need a little bit more quality on top of that. If we can blend the two together, and I think it's brilliant, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. It certainly doesn't seem like that's the case at the moment. Boehly is very much the front runner in terms of the way we're running things at the moment, which has led to Todd Boehly trying to raise £2.5 billion to try and buy out Clearlake Capital and become the majority shareholder, the majority owner of Chelsea Football Club. I think it's unbelievable, to be fair. And it's sparked so much controversy about where Chelsea are. I mean, why would Chelsea fans trust the process and trust the ownership? They don't even trust each other. All right, nobody ever thought that Boehly and Boehly were best friends, but I mean, I don't think we thought after 2 years this was already going to happen. This is certainly a surprise. I mean, I feel that way, and I don't know if you do as well. Let me know in the comments. But it is a fascinating situation, and yeah, I mean, if you look at the vision that Boehly and Clearlake have, it's about a 10-year vision. It's a 10-year project for them, because they are contractually obliged when they bought the club to hold on to it for 10 years, and they can't sell it up to that point. But they can sell it to Boehly because he's already a part of the club, right? So that is okay. Whereas Boehly, from what we hear, is looking at a 20-30 year project. And I would agree with the fact that Boehly does look like he's more, involved with the fan base, involved with the club in terms of, repping our merch, going and speaking to fans, taking pictures with fans, and just being a little bit more open about things. If you ever hear quotes from the ownership, generally, it's Boehly. I mean, you've heard a couple of things from Boehly, but nothing much. Where Boehly's a lot more open about these things, which I think is great. It's good to have open dialogue and communicate, even if it's not directly with the fans and it's an interview with Bloomberg, right? I didn't get that with Abramovich, so it's quite refreshing in that sense. But it doesn't matter who's speaking if they don't have the power to do what they need to do. And I think that ultimately the direction of this club would benefit from one of these individuals taking charge. Now, if Boehly is that person, and clearly they've been very open about the fact that they don't want to sell their shares, but let's just say that they bought out Boehly, who doesn't want to sell his shares either. He's looking to buy out Clearlake, just to be clear. Then you have a club that is going to be well run financially. We're not going to have problems with FFP. We're not going to have problems with PSR, and we're going to be very stable. So that it's not going to be very controversial in that sense. I think the loopholes in terms of how much we've been spending is because of what we had with UEFA, the fact that we weren't in any UEFA competitions. We obviously took as much advantage of spending large amounts while we still could. I think that the spending will probably dial down and will be a little bit more sensible under Boehly. And then also you look at the players we have in terms of youth. That's just a money maker for them. That's all they're thinking about. They're buying players as well from abroad, whether that's Brazil or whatever country. You look at Angelo, we just sold him to Al Nassr in Saudi. After a year of buying, we've made £6 million. That's good business, but it's not good for football in terms of the football side of things. Nobody really cares about making £6 million on a player sale, right? They can look at that and say that's good accounting, whatever. And it is. I have no issue with that, providing on the sporting side you are focused there as well. And it seems like the direction from Clearlake is very much financially driven. How much money can we make? What can we invest here to get this return? And that is where there is a problem, because when you're turning down Victor Osimhen, and everyone knows we clearly need a striker, when you're trying to force out Chalobah, who's arguably one of our better centre-back, and this is all because of money, and these can all easily be avoided, guys. You offer Victor Osimhen 250k a week, there's a good chance he actually accepts that. Still a 50k pay cut. I mean, this is the thing, and you got Chalobah as well. Fucking hell. You're trying to sell the guy for 25, 35 million. And you end up loaning him to Crystal Palace. He could have easily played for us and would probably keep more clean sheets over the course of the season. So a lot of question marks from Clearlake. But then you've got Boehly as well. And I like baseball. I'm actually a fan of baseball. I follow the Dodgers. And this argument of... because there is an argument that Boehly doesn't really bring success, right? He's only won one World Series with the Dodgers. Well, hang on a second. So in 10 years of ownership of the Dodgers, he's won one World Series, so 1 in 10, okay? How much harder do you think it is to win a World Series than a Premier League? Let's just look at numbers there. There's 20 Premier League teams, there's 30 teams in Major League Baseball. So by definition, it's actually 50% harder to win well, you've got an extra 10 teams, 50% more than in the Premier League in Major League Baseball. So it's an unbelievable achievement winning a title in that sense, because he revitalized the Dodgers. And he's spending a fuck ton of money. Shohei Ohtani, they've given him a massive contract. It's a smart contract as well. We talk about these stupid payouts, but it's intelligent. It's intelligent because if you bring the big players in, let's say we brought, fucking hell. Let's say, do you remember when we were rumoured to have Ronaldo, right? Now we pay X amount for Ronaldo. Ronaldo comes in, his wages are extortionate. But my God, he's going to make the club a lot of money as well. And this is the thing about superstars, bringing superstars in. I'm not saying we should bring Ronaldo, or we should have. I'm using it as an example. Superstars bring in revenue in ways that really these young players never can. You bring in Dewsbury Hall from Leicester, I'm sorry, where's the commercial value? Whereas you bring in a superstar like Neymar, Ronaldo, Osimhen, shirt sales going through the roof, sponsors want to be associated with the best players. People want to go and watch the best players. You can attract tourists, increasing the attendance at Stamford Bridge, which, by the way, is actually not as great as everyone thinks it is. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't want to go and watch Stamford Bridge. I mean, I had a friend call me the other day saying he had some friends coming all the way from Japan, and they wanted to watch a Premier League team in the Champions League. So they asked about Chelsea. And when they realised we're in the Conference League, they didn't want to watch us. So if you have bigger players and you're involved in bigger things, which generally bigger players are, you're going to attract things in terms of commercial value and sponsorships. So, yeah, I mean, also bigger players, you generally win trophies, and you're more likely to win now. So when I hear the strategies, I'm very much in favour of Boehly. I think that you just see more sporting ambition from that side, whereas with Boehly, there is ambition, but it's not sporting ambition. It's financial. It's all financial. The strategy is to do with money. The recruitment is to do with money. The wage bill, the transfer policy, the loan strategy. Why did we buy Strasbourg? Money. So, yeah, when I look at everything, I think, look, there's bad things from both of these guys. I mean, we've just alluded to Clear Lakes. Boehly's obviously got bad qualities as well. Like, if you dish out a 5-year contract to Sterling on 325k a week, you can see it's quite hard to get rid of him. And that is where Boehly is a bit better, because he won't make those mistakes. But let's say Sterling paid off and scored us 30 goals a season. Who's complaining? Right? So that is where it's all a risk at the end of the day, whether you spend a lot of money or not much. It's all a risk, because if you don't spend enough on good players or invest in the wrong things, you're not going to be successful anyway. And if you don't get a Champions League, you don't make as much money for the club. So yeah, I mean, that's where I stand on it. I think that personally, Boehly would be a massive upgrade on Boehly in terms of our short-term ambition and winning trophies. I can see Boehly actually being someone that wants to be a part of that, whereas Boehly is really looking at this, and Clear Lake as well. I mean, Feliciano said it himself. He said, success on the pitch is great, but it's not as important as success off the pitch, and that tells you everything you need to know. And whether Boehly means it or not, he does say we are here to win. And that's the different visions that we've got. So it'll be very interesting to see how this situation unfolds. I don't think this is a quick solution. This is going to probably take a couple of years, if I'm honest with you. I think this will take at least a year to finalise if anyone buys out one of the other investors or shareholders. But yeah, not a great start to the season, guys, in terms of news. This isn't positive, because none of them want to sell. So if we ever want to rebuild a stadium or do anything, 3 of these guys have to sign off on it, and the vision is not shared. So we are at a standstill in terms of who's actually running the show at the moment. I mean, as I said, Clearlake have control, but Boehly has an awful lot of stake as well. His consortium have 40% or 38, something like that. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see where this goes. Personally, it's interesting, but you can't look at this and say it's positive for the club, because what if nobody wants to sell and that's where we are? Then I think it's going to be very difficult to find any ambition up top, because you're just driving in different directions. But let me know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think Boehly's the best man for the job, or is the Clearlake strategy better than we all think? Even if it's financially viable for Clearlake and that's their ambition, can we be successful with Boehly and Feliciano? Let me know in the comments. Leave a thumbs up as well, and up the Chelsea.